What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite for a pretty exciting video to round out this week. I know things have been busy over the last couple of days with the launch of the mid-season, but with the release of Reloaded came a ton of brand new rumors and leaks that I do want to safely cover here in this commentary. With that being said, though, in the background we do have some gameplay of Signal, a brand new strike map which just got added a couple of days back. This map is Black Ops, ladies and gentlemen. If anybody out there was worried about whether Season 3 would go down as a very Modern Warfare-esque season, I mean, I guess on the Warzone front, sure. I'm sure other Black Ops themed Warzone updates are coming over the next few seasons, but on the multiplayer front, we got firing range. We got some pretty strong maps at the beginning of the season, and with Reloaded, we have a map that is based out of the Rusalka, a ship that we actually went to in the Black Ops 1 campaign. I love multiplayer maps with this kind of atmosphere, right? You want to have a couple of maps taking place in Avalon? That's cool. Even if the maps don't really feel like they're from a Warzone map, it's fine. But to have these real unique settings based on older campaign missions or just real unique locations that fit Black Ops, I live for things like this, right? What a great map that, of course, doesn't allow you to use score streaks because it's a strike experience, but I think is going to end up being a fairly useful 6v6/strike experience for camo grinders out there, or for folks out there who just want to jump in, do some running and gunning, level up their weapons, whatever the case may be. But the next couple of weeks are going to be fairly busy. Like I said on the podcast earlier today, appreciate anybody that tuned in to Bombshell 152. The link to that will be down below. May could be a month that is similar to January, where there's genuinely something going on every week, and then all of a sudden, there's marketing for the next season already. So we know that as of now, we got the event pass with High Art and Seth Rogen. We know that May 6th is the Blaze of Glory event featuring the first ever event camo, and there'll be some other gameplay items in there like the new Vendetta perk for multiplayer. But then the following week, or the following week and some change after that, we also have the Got Your 6 COD Endowment event. Not sure if that's actually challenge based or what the structure is of that, but that's going to be an event that kind of closes out Season 3. And then around the 22nd of May, we should be getting what could be a reveal of Season 4. As of now, according to the in-game Battle Pass timer, Season 4 should be starting on May 29th at around 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 o'clock Central, and 12 o'clock Eastern. It could be a bit too soon to be talking about Season 4, but a bunch of info did pop up as of yesterday that I do want to break down real quick, and we'll of course dive deeper into these topics and make follow-up videos once more information is learned. I also think the usual data miners on Twitter probably aren't done going through what's in the current Season 3 Reloaded title update, so would not be surprised if a ton more information does leak out over the next couple of weeks. Also gonna guess that maybe the Season 4 key art color is gonna be light blue. Maybe it's purple. Not really sure, but Fajari did a good job predicting that Season 2 would be red and that Season 3 would be green. So we'll see if he's on the money again here with our 4th season. Something that actually leaked out many months back is that the Grim Reaper would be returning as a score streak in Black Ops 6. This is a streak that we saw all the way back in Black Ops 1, but I don't believe has been in any COD ever since. I love the idea of score streak DLC. I think it's also great when you add in a new perk or a new piece of equipment, but when it comes to the score streaks, always happy to see brand new ones that we either haven't seen in a while or ones that have never been in the game at all. I mean, yeah, the War Machine and the Hand Cannon, even the Death Machine, they kind of can give you a free nuke no matter what mode you're playing if you actually run all three, but what about something a little bit different that's kind of like the Archangel, but it's something that, again, we have not seen in well over a decade? Totally open to seeing that added into multiplayer, but if you have any other really good score streak ideas, drop some comments down below. Here's where things get real interesting though. According to leakers out there like Alix, these are the following operators that are currently plotted out for a future season. We have operators named after dogs like Doberman, Corky, and even Poodle. Probably are just code names for future crossover skins or something that the studio doesn't want leaking out yet, because that actually happened with, I believe, our crossover operators for Squid Game, even Terminator. They were referred to as something completely different in the game's files, but there's one here that everybody probably recognizes, and that's Stitch. So RUS_PL_Stitch is actually the exact same code name, according to leakers, that Stitch was identified by over in Black Ops Cold War. So are we looking at what could be another flashback season with the next major title update on May 29th? I honestly don't think that'll be the case. I think we're finally going to end up getting some follow-up to what happened at the end of Cold War Season 6 when our crew was in Verdansk and they presumably took out all of Stitch's allies, but then met Stitch by his grave. If I'm not mistaken, his grave actually can't be seen in Verdansk right now, but I believe was visible back in Verdansk 84. Did Adler actually end up killing Stitch? We all assumed that that was probably the case. I even asked Bruce Thomas about this when we interviewed him in a podcast episode a couple of months ago. It's all but confirmed that Stitch probably was killed. You heard a gunshot, but what if Adler just shot in a different direction and they locked Stitch up? Here's the thing, right? If Stitch is alive, that could generate a bunch of hype, could make for a really cool ending to the post-launch story of Black Ops 6. The problem at hand, though, is that that would have left the door open to so much rich potential for the Black Ops 6 campaign. You could have said, okay, the Cold War post-launch really set up a bunch of brand new characters, the new villains, which would actually save a lot of time. Instead of reintroducing them in the Black Ops 6 campaign, you could have just jumped right in with the single player and focused on those characters and took the story forward. But the campaign of Black Ops 6 really doesn't focus too much at all on very much that happened in Cold War, let alone the post-launch. But now it looks like the post-launch of BO6 is kind of driving away a little bit from the plot surrounding Avalon, which I guess is going to be more relevant next year with the next Black Ops game, according to rumors. Now it's going back to, okay, what is Pantheon? Who is Pantheon? And what clues do we have? With a flashback season like Season 3, Hudson left some clues behind. Maybe some clues were left behind by Stitch himself, and it's going to explore that a lot more within Season 4, but if it's another flashback season, I'd also assume the community would probably be a bit upset about that if we're not really moving forward in the story, but instead are kind of stagnant and looking backwards. Either way, as far as gameplay goes, I think Stitch was one of the more popular characters, if not the most popular character, at least during the post-launch. So people are going to be excited to see Stitch as a playable character again. Will likely end up being a Battle Pass character. I doubt will be released as a separate bundle later, but this can make for another very Black Ops feeling type of season where it's not focused too much on the new characters from the BO6 campaign, but it's focusing on the fan favorite nostalgic ones that we knew from several years ago. But something I've been saying since the launch of Black Ops 6 is, hey, the campaign was kind of marketed around the events of Panama and not being able to know who to trust, right? We were going to figure out the moles in the CIA. I really did think that where they were leaning for BO6 was to say, hey, all those sleeper agents that Stitch released during the Cold War cycle maybe went across the world and formed this Pantheon group that further infiltrated the CIA, and then that creates a really cool plot point and connection from Cold War to BO6. That's what I thought was happening, but that obviously wasn't the case. Now, some other nostalgic content that just got discovered is related to Season 4 weaponry. So it looks like these are the following codenames for upcoming weapons that could be released as early as Season 4, Season 4 Reloaded, and even content updates after that. We have the codename Fresno, one called Lisbon, another one called Erie, one called Aspen, one called Milan, one called Olive, then we have Mesa, M202, Pickaxe, and even BK Knuckles. So there's a few that we can probably predict from some of these code names. I know some of the weapon code names in BO6 are a little confusing and wouldn't allow us to really guess what that weapon is, but according to data miners, the Olive one is referencing the Olympia. This is a shotgun that we saw in Black Ops 1, I believe it was in BO2's campaign, and of course in Zombies, and then we saw it through supply drops in BO3. It was an absolute blast, but I don't believe we've seen the Olympia ever since. Certainly a frustrating weapon to die to, but a very fun one to actually use yourself. This weapon was a monster, man, so obviously we'll be able to kind of bring back and revive the M14 versus Olympia debates for Black Ops 6, but that's a weapon that reportedly is coming back. I'm gonna guess the Milan one is probably the Milano. That's an SMG that we had in Cold War. Obviously would not be surprised to see more submachine guns added throughout the Black Ops 6 life cycle, but then there's some obvious ones as melee weapons. The Pickaxe, that's a given, and then Brass Knuckles. That'll probably be a melee weapon that gets added either through the armory, could be in a battle pass at some point, or a future challenge event. So quite a few weapons are certainly on the way. Also would not be surprised to see some futuristic weaponry, maybe closer to the end of this game's life cycle to help and continue teasing Black Ops 7 or what is going to be a futuristic COD 2025. But based on some of the previous seasons we've seen of other Call of Duty titles, I always feel like the first season, the third, and maybe the fifth are usually the strongest as far as content. I know that could be a bit of a debate because some folks will like certain seasons over others, but I always feel like 1, 3, and 5 are usually the strongest, and then 6 could also be a real strong one, but doesn't necessarily focus on new content. It's more so just a big Halloween celebration event where there's a lot of haunting content across all game modes and stuff that really isn't permanent. But yeah, that's really my take on the seasons for just about every recent COD. Not that Season 2 was bad for BO6 or anything. I think there was some good and impressive content added in that was fairly exciting, but I will say I think there's a lot of expectations going into the later half of this game cycle as far as what they're going to add. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the brand new content that just got discovered for Black Ops 6? Lots of exciting things to look forward to from a narrative standpoint, a gameplay standpoint. Leave our thoughts down below. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.